Hi, it's Debbie Avels with the Simply Put segment, and I'm here with some friends of mine, Jim and Jeanette Cantrell. They are local artist and marketing agent for Jim here in Bardstown, Kentucky, in Nelson County, in central Kentucky. And I've known them. In fact, they were my neighbors for many years at Spalding Hall. I lived on one of the floors, and they lived on one of the others, and we ran into each other almost daily. And we're very lucky to be able to actually see some of the new works that he was working on periodically, and became quite fascinated with Jim's work. Here today, Jeanette is going to tell us about their barn showing that they've got of Jim's work. He will talk about it and tell us a little bit more about it, but we're going to kind of turn it over to Jeanette because she pretty much does the marketing for the gallery. It's Bardstown Art Gallery.
It is, and we are located at 214 West Stephen Foster, which is right almost between Medica Pharmacy on 4th in the corner and St. Joe Cathedral on 5th and Stephen Foster. So if you get somewhere in between those two places, you will find us. So
tell us the dates, and we are lucky because we are here before the actual opening of the showing. But tell us a little bit about what we're going to see and when it's running and all of that.
We are, would you believe, celebrating our 41st year in business as Jim, as an independent studio artist, and our gallery. And so every year now we've tried to do something unique. And Jim, I don't know how the whole barn episode started, about 1.5 years ago.
Oh my goodness. You painted all of this in that short length of time?
Well, that's not quite a lot of time. Well, a few other paintings in between that weren't barns.
Right.
This is a great gallery amount, you know, to be able to pick from and to enjoy. And
I got a fast brush.
Well, and then, you know, when you're doing this as your living, this is your job, and you're dealing with it 8 hours a day, or more. In between, he did paintings of bourbon-related paintings, so we had a bourbon-related show at the Owensboro Art Museum. So that was kind of sandwiched in between.
Steampunk too? You did that too?
Oh, yes.
Well, you just are a prolific painter, is what we would say.
That's a pretty, painter. I'm a painter.
You know, the barn.
I should have said artist.
The barn series may have kind of started when we were he was invited to participate in a plein air event in New Harmony, Indiana. Explain
to the audience what plein air is. I know, but I wouldn't have known if somebody hadn't told me about it.
Well, plein air, yes,
that's about it,
it's painting out in the open air. It's a fancy French word for really painting on site out in the open air.
Okay.
So when Jim is a studio painter, and a friend of ours was quite involved in this New Harmony event, and she kept saying, Jim, you've got to do it, you've got to do it. And kicking and screaming, we went and loved it. Because New Harmony is a charm.
Oh, yes.
So the first painting that he did, no, it wasn't of this barn, but the second time we went, that barn sits in the middle of New Harmony, Indiana.
And we'll be showing that painting a little bit later.
And so he ended up painting that barn. And as now we're driving around, as we travel to Nebraska to visit relatives, as we travel to Virginia to visit relatives, we see these barns. And he said, you know, these things are disappearing.
Well, that's true. I hadn't really thought about that, but
disappearing.
They are, aren't they?
And he said, I think I need to rethink doing the barn. When we first moved to Kentucky in '71, there were a lot of people painting barns. And Jim said, I'm not going to do barns because everybody else is doing barns. I'm going to do people.
Well, Jim Cruz is the king of the barn painter. I couldn't.
Yes, well, I know what you mean. But boy, these are stunning. So you did something else.
So now, you know, 40 years later, nobody else is doing barns anymore. So he said, you know, I'm going to document these things. Last month, I think he went over to Nashville, Indiana, to the T.C. Steele Museum.
Okay.
And the woman there, he was telling her about what he was doing, and we were getting ready to in their museum, and she said, oh, there's a great lyrics from a bluegrass musician by the name of Green Sky Bluegrass.
Okay.
About barns. Old barns never, I can't, no, you know, barns, don't tear them down, let them just fall down. And I put it in the press release, but now do you think I can remember the lyrics? 2 little short lines.
We'll put it in the paper, so then everybody will be able to read it.
And gone. But, so, you know, it's funny how these things just kept developing and kept developing and kept developing. So we said, hey, let's do a whole show of barns.
Well, I think it's stunning. One of the things I was going to ask you, Jim, is, you know, how do you keep a memory or an image or whatever in your mind? And you were telling me about it before we went on camera, and I think that our audience needs to know, you know, how you do this.
Well, it's I have the ability, strange ability, to see something and remember the essence. This is the first time I ever drew anything. I was 4 or 5 years old, and we drove through an oil field in Oklahoma. Now, this was back in the days when they had these wooden derricks, and they were used just everywhere.
Yes.
And I got to my grandparents' place, and I started drawing these barracks. And that barn there is a barn somewhere between Brownville, Nebraska, and St. Joe, Missouri. And we just drove by it a number of times, and it's done from memory. But now my memory is going.
All of ours is.
And then with the advent of the digital camera.
Yes.
That just, you know, now they even put in telephones. I'm not that advanced yet, but
you'll get there.
No, I've got too many things. I get there and they get something else.
That's true.
She'll drive and I'll sit over in the passenger seat and I click the picture. I get the essence of the barn. It may be moving, maybe a tree in the road.
Right.
But that doesn't bother me. I can remove trees easy, and I just need a basic shape. If have to be, I'll make a model of that barn on cardboard, and then to get shadows. Because then I also have toy cars I can put in there. I just play.
This sounds like fun. It sounds like you've got the best side of the deal here.
He does.
Well, one of the things Jeanette was showing us, and let's take our audience through that, about how something can start from a small piece, and then it may be, I don't want to say deemed worthy to maybe make into a larger.
That's exactly.
But is that really what it is?
Very good.
Yes.
Sometimes I never go beyond the little one.
Show our audience, and we'll hold those up.
Well, now this
sizes.
one, oddly enough, you will appreciate this one as well. We are in now Virginia.
Okay.
And all of a sudden we encounter this barn along the road, and Jim says, oh my God, look at the...
Oh, it's got three
attic, what we called an attic vent.
That's it.
Which is on top of the back wing of Spalding Hall.
That's right.
And we said, where? It's identical. We've never seen that on a barn before.
You're right, I didn't even think
So
about that.
he said, well, I've got to paint that. So he photographed this particular painting, or barn.
Through the windshield.
Through the windshield.
What, 60 miles an hour?
No, not
And no, I was on death road. Ice road truckers, I felt like. So we get home, and he does this small piece, and then he said, you know, I think I'll try a larger version. Because it also had this old tub trough affair in there. So he does
it's stunning.
What we would call a half sheet. This is a quarter sheet. This one would be a half sheet.
Oh.
Well, then he decided that really needs a little more oomph, and so he did what we call a full sheet.
Oh, look.
So that I think probably the purpose of the trees was to highlight those odd attic vents.
I was saying, yes, and even some of the background colors and things of that are just slightly different here.
Just slightly, you know, you just...
Gosh, that's gorgeous.
It's amazing how things... One really cannot absolutely duplicate a watercolor.
No.
I don't know if, has there ever been a forgery of a,
Really?
to
Duplicate the style.
is a style, but you know,
But the
to make an
colors,
absolute copy, you can't.
Well, you
And
have
I see
got-
like he's added little birds in the sky there.
And see, this one's got like a green cast in spots where that one has more of a little bit more blue, but they are actually the same barn. But different is how the artist sees it based on the
And
size.
the windows are different.
Oh, it's just wonderful. You've done that on a number of them.
On a number. The one, this barn over here, now he didn't do a small study of this one, but this is a barn near Rosine, Kentucky, where Bill Monroe, I guess you would call hallowed grounds are.
Yes.
So he finished that one, and another kind of interesting thing that I find is the barns, when they were built, they had a function. They were iconic structures in the landscape.
Yes.
As they have gone into disuse, now they've become iconic structures for a person like Jim because the composition of
That's
a
true.
neglected barn, one that's falling down, makes for great,
Yeah.
interesting paintings.
Much more interesting
So-
falling down than it was if it was
know-
in perfect shape.
And so you take that one, and then he decided, well, let's do a different angle.
Yeah.
Same barn,
Same barn.
different angle,
Can't put a fence in.
added a fence. I mean,
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
the white fence is so iconic to Kentucky and the bluegrass that
The branches coming down.
the branches.
and everything. It has life. It's like the barn may be falling, but there you can still get, as you say, the essence of a life.
But I have found out that from a number of people, like hospitals and banks and whatnot, they won't touch those.
Really?
No.
Oh, because of the decay or whatever?
Decay.
Death.
And we're
Crazy,
saying,
isn't it?
you
Because
know,
to me, I see it as comforting.
That's right.
And
those are
interesting.
artists. I'm just a painter.
you know, interesting. That particular barn is off of Plum Run Road.
Okay,
I couldn't tell you who it belongs to.
that would have to be the
But-
Simpsons because everybody, all the Simpsons are at Plum Run Road. We live off of Old Nazareth with crosses. You know, Plum Run
Yes.
goes across, and we call that Simpson Highway because they're flying through there. So if you were taking pictures or driving and trying to, I would understand completely why you'd have to go and turn around about 5 times to get a good shot. Well, tell us about the opening this Saturday.
Okay. We've partnered with, I don't know if I told you, we've partnered with Preservation Kentucky to help promote this, and it turns out that they too are very interested in the barn.
Oh, yes.
They're planning some kind of a barn tour in the next year or so. So it was, you know, synergistic that we should kind of get together. Rachel Kennedy, who is the executive director of Preservation Kentucky, intends to be here Saturday, so I would hope everyone would come from 4 to 7. We're having an opening reception. We'll have beverages and maybe a little nice goodies to munch on while you contemplate which painting you would like to purchase.
That's right.
We are giving 10% of all the sales proceeds to Preservation Kentucky.
That's very nice.
For their work.
Right?
So we're very excited and pleased about working together with them.
Right. And this showing is this Saturday through December.
Right. The opening reception is this Saturday
Okay.
from 4 to 7, but the exhibition will be up until the 15th of December. So you've got plenty of
perfect.
time to come look, contemplate. If you can't come to the opening tomorrow, feel free to come anytime between now and the 15th of December. Then, of course, we'll put different things up after that.
Right.
But
But they're located in Bardstown, in downtown, but on Side Street, which is West Stephen Foster. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And Once you get to the courthouse, you'll take, if you're going towards the Elizabethtown area, towards Highway 62. There is Medica, there is Mackin's Antique Mall across the street, and around the corner is St. Joe, and their big parking lots. And there really is parking all around based on how busy you'll be on Saturday. Right. You might have to look a little bit, but you would be able to find a spot without any trouble.
Yes.
And it's kind of a craftsman style, isn't that what we call it, Jim?
Yes.
Residence. I love the way that you all have played on the architecture of the building for your signage and for all that whole look. It's just one of my favorite styles anyway. And the gallery is also their home. You are open how many days a week and the hours?
We live and work right here. So we say generally we're here from about 10 till 6 o'clock at night. But you know, if you want to come at 8 o'clock at night, you just call us on the phone and I will unlock the door, turn on the lights.
Let you look.
As a matter of fact, you know, we were green way before it was fashionable to be green, and I still am. So if we're not busy, I don't burn all of these lights. Right. So a lot of times it looks like we're not here. Come up to the door. I've got a sign says, please ring the doorbell. If we're here, I open the door and I turn on the lights. So we're not being unfriendly. We're just being green.
I've always loved your work, of every time. So, the barns are really quite effective. It's the first time I've seen the barns, Jim, because I usually see you doing people or characters or you know, something unusual like that in a lot of the Bardstown historic homes and things of that nature. But the colors are wonderful.
They're
just
amazing.
Beautiful.
Well, and then
from chickens to just foundation.
You know,
work.
Chickens really go with barns.
Yes.
And I just love the little chickens. I thought when he first did a few chickens years ago, I said, honey, no one's gonna buy a chicken.
Oh, they're buying.
Well, guess what? It was the first painting that sold.
See? Always. He knows more than you know.
Those are made up. I wanted to paint that tree. I wanted to learn how to paint a tree that way. And I've made it up, both of them, and I still haven't learned how to do it yet.
So this one, you wanted to learn how to paint a tree?
Mm-hmm. Both of them, and I still haven't got that kind of a tree down to where I want. I'm not pleased with it.
And of course, I sit here and I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you know, the artist is never happy, is he? See?
You're right. You might be interested to know that his father had a farm. And his father had an 8th grade education and did tremendous, 7th grade. He had a number of things, ran a restaurant right after the war, made enough money to buy a farm.
Okay.
So I think, were you in high school when they moved to the farm? So this is the Cantrell barn in Nebraska.
Tractor that we used to drive, my brother and I.
See, and that's got a lot of
pastels. But that window is not right, so I've done it again and again and again, or did it again and again and again, until I finally got what I wanted from my memory. So that's, I work in a number of ways. I don't, I don't like to be put in a box.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, and you shouldn't be. You should be allowed to do your thing. That's it. Well, we are thrilled to have been your guest today.
We are at 502-348-6488.
And I'll tell you, it's well worth coming and seeing. They have a beautiful location, beautiful artwork to see, and they are super friendly, easy to talk to, and will give you any kind of information that you want. They love talking with people about Jim's work.
Oh, I do. Do it. Find us on Facebook, please.
Oh, yeah.
Like us on Facebook, Bardstown Art Gallery and Cantrell Studio.
Perfect.
And
that's Cantrell
right.
Studio.